Hello, Spartan fans. We have a huge show for you today.
We will preview the 2013 football and volleyball seasons.
And take a look at what's been going on in Echols Hall this summer, and much, much more.
It's time to get in the zone. Hello and welcome to the first ever edition of the Spartan Sports Zone. I'm Ross Gordon, the play-by-play voice of the Spartans, joined by Mike Bello, the Assistant Sports Information Director, and Chandrea Lee of the NSU Sports Information Staff. We are the team who will bring you all of the news and notes on NSU athletics.
Ross, here on the Sports Zone, we will recap the previous week in NSU athletics, show some of the top highlights, and hear from players and coaches.
That's right, guys. The sports desk will also keep you prepared for the week to come. And we start right now as we head to the gridiron to take a look at the 2013 football team.
I've been a Spartan all my life. I'll be a Spartan till the day I die. Hey, hey.
After a year in which Norfolk State saw its dreams of back-to-back MEAC championships fall early, the Spartans returned to campus in early August on a mission to get back to the top of the pack. Pete Adrian, in his ninth season as head coach, has seen his 3-4 defense be a mainstay at the top of the conference, finishing second in total defense and third nationally in 2012. This year, Coach Adrian has shifted his focus to the offensive side of the ball after the Spartans led the league in total turnovers and could not find the consistency needed to get over the hump. Norfolk State was picked to finish 7th in this year's preseason poll, but the Spartans aren't worried too much about that, knowing the ultimate goal is to hoist the MEAC championship trophy at the end of the year.
In order to take home the conference crown, NSU will need better offensive production and improved quarterback play than in 2012. And that is where we begin our 2013 positional previews. NSU has had a heated quarterback battle all summer long. With the loss of Nico Flores, NSU now turns its attention to 3 sophomores, Omari Timmons, Tyler Clark, and Malik Stokes, one of whom will walk out to the huddle on NSU's first offensive drive against Maine. With the type of offense NSU wants to run, Coach Adrian is looking for someone to be a game manager, not necessarily a game changer.
We've really talked about it since last January, and the big thing trying to explain to our quarterbacks, first of all, it's okay to punt. You know, that's why we have a punt team, that's why we have a defense, and trying to get them, as I said many times, you don't have to be the show, you just have to run it.
Whomever wins the starting job will have the luxury of handing off and throwing to a talented group of running backs, wide receivers, and tight ends. Led by Derek Demps and Joseph Hawkins, NSU's quarterbacks will have plenty of weapons to throw to. NSU is also looking for wide receiver Kelvin Lewis to make a solid return after missing all of last year due to injury. Keith Johnson will be counted on to make an impact in the 2-deep, along with sophomores DeAndre Sangster and Isaac White, while newcomers Jerron Stokes and James Church are 2 more names to look out for. At running back, Boston College transfer Rolandon Finch and sophomore Brendan Riddick form a solid 1-2 punch, while redshirt freshman Aaron Daniels and a pair of freshmen could also get carries. Fullbacks Conley Smith and Ryan Wade will also figure into the offensive game plan more this year. It's a deep stable of skill players whom Finch believes can make a big impact this season.
I think we got a lot of explosive people on the offensive side of the ball, receivers, running backs, and quarterbacks. So as long as we can get the ball in our right positions and things like that, I think we can make some plays.
The boys up front protecting the quarterback are an experienced group, led by juniors Justin Myler and Cameron Williams on the left side and senior Nico Washington on the right side. NSU is also expected to get back the services of senior Blake Matthews at some point in September. According to Adrian, there are also a few younger players getting ready to play a bigger role this year on the offensive line.
Well, we started camp with 15 offensive linemen, and you never have enough of those guys. And you know, we had a couple of injuries in there and a few things, but we're starting to get some guys back right now. It's giving our younger guys a good chance to play, and by younger guys, I'm talking about guys who were redshirts, so it's really been good for them.
The defensive side of the ball has always been a strong suit for NSU, and in 2013 is no different. Yet again, the Spartans are looked at as having one of the best defenses in the conference, and surely one that will wreak havoc on opposing offenses. The defense is led by first-team All-MEAC preseason pick Lyndon Trail. Trail will be counted on to anchor the defense after the loss of 3 starters. As usual, NSU is expected to plug in the next set of great linebackers with no drop-off. Trail and sophomore Deion King will hold down the starting spots at outside linebacker, while senior Mike Privet and junior Marcel Koch will man the middle. Senior Brent Singleton and sophomores Lamar Neal and Justin Gant will join several freshmen in rounding out the two deep. Trail, who led the team in sacks and tackles for loss, joined Singleton and Koch as the top 3 returning tacklers from last season. They will be key players in NSU's bid to repeat as a top 3 defense nationally. The defensive line for the Spartan, meanwhile, is probably the deepest part of the defense. NSU will go 6 deep and even more, led by George Riddick, Sean Fauntleroy, and Noel Clark at the starting spots. Senior Matt Grant, sophomore Kevin Williams, and freshman Lamonte Clark will see plenty of time on the field as Adrian loves to sub his defensive linemen on a regular basis to keep them fresh. Despite some underclassmen in the mix, Riddick feels the defensive line can be just as solid as last year, if not even a level better.
The past few years, we've been ranked number 3rd overall, and past few years, by few, maybe 4 or 5 years. So, we really just want to reach that number 1 spot as a whole group. That's all our focus on, is being number 1 defense in the country, number 1 defense in the line.
The NSU secondary was solid last year, ranking 1st in the nation in fewest passing yards allowed per game. This year, Adrian and his staff should have a much bigger and deeper secondary than years in the past. 3 of the 4 starters are entering their 4th year in the program, led by the cornerback tandem of Marcus Center and Darren Merrill. Merrill vacates his starting free safety spot from last year, with sophomore Troy Hughes stepping into the starting lineup there. Keenan Lambert, who led the Spartan secondary in tackles, returns as the team's starting strong safety. NSU added 3 freshmen who stand 6 feet tall or bigger and who will see plenty of time on the field. Brandon Walker, Leroy Parker, and Dante Hainsworth bring plenty of size and may see time on special teams, along with junior college transfer Colin Frazier. Having bigger bodies in the secondary is something Coach Adrian is looking forward to having.
We've gone from having 5'8" and 5'9" to 6'1", 6'2", 6'3" guys, and from 170 to 190 to 200, and they can run faster than the other guys. So we're pretty excited about that.
Adrian is also looking forward to having an improved special teams unit, especially in the return game. Colin Frazier and Jerron Stokes are 2 players whom the Spartans will need to gain some big plays in the return game, along with wide receivers Keith Johnson and Kelvin Lewis. The special teams will see all new faces this year booting the ball after the loss of their all-MEAC punter and place kicker. Junior Ryan Lee has been battling freshman Cameron Maroof at both place kicking spots, while freshman Dalton Frazier is looking to take over the punting duties. NSU kicks off the season on Saturday as the Spartans host the Black Bears of Maine at Dick Price Stadium at 6 p.m. For a deeper look into the Black Bears, here is Chandrea Lee.
Thanks, Mike. The Spartans will have a tough task at hand on Saturday as they welcome in the Maine Black Bears of the CAA. Coming off of a 5-6 campaign last year, the Black Bears are very talented on offense and stingy on defense. Maine will be led by senior quarterback Marcus Wazlewski, who passed for 2,364 yards and 21 touchdowns last season. Wazlewski also finished 2nd in the CAA last season in passing, as he was almost 61% in pass completion, and he rushed for 306 yards. Senior tight end Justin Perillo will be a favorite target for Wazlewski. Perillo is a preseason All-CAA first-team pick who caught 30 passes for 271 yards and 5 touchdowns a year ago. Other impact players on offense for the Black Bears include the team's leading rusher Ricky Stevens, as well as wideouts Derek Johnson and DeMar Altman. On the defensive side of the ball, 8 starters are back from a unit that gave up just 19.5 points per game. Leading the way for Maine is senior lineman Michael Cole, who registered 7 sacks in just 5 games last season. The Black Bears also welcome back a trio of outstanding defensive backs in Kendall James, Kari Al-Mateen, and Jamal Clay. James was selected as a Phil Steele 4th-team All-American after a solid season last year, where he compiled 12 pass breakups and 3 interceptions. Al-Mateen was the team's 2nd leading tackler last season with 67 tackles, while Clay, a preseason 3rd All-CAA member, recorded 8 pass breakups and 3 interceptions. For all the numbers and awards, the key to the game could very well be NSU's top-ranked pass defense against an all-conference caliber quarterback. When we come back, we'll take a look at interim head coach Brandon Duvall and his volleyball team that is poised to make a run at a MEAC championship in 2013. We'll also check out what's been going on in Echols Hall over the last few months. All that plus more coming up on the Spartan Sports Zone.
You're a Norfolk State Spartans fan. You want the world to know it, and there's only one place for you to gear up, NSUSpartans.com. You'll find an awesome selection of over 200 items, including jerseys, t-shirts, hats, and more. Decorate your home, office, or even your car with the best selection of Spartans gear anywhere. You'll also find great customer service, 365-day hassle-free returns, and fast shipping. So show the world you're a Norfolk State Spartans fan. Head to NSUSpartans.com.
Welcome back to the Spartan Sports Zone. We now shift our attention to Norfolk State University volleyball, who adopted the motto unfinished business after coming up a serve short last year of both winning the Northern Division title and making it to the MEAC Championship final. With a talented roster back, plus some newcomers already showing what they can do on the court, expectations are nothing short of a MEAC title. Up front, NSU is led by a pair of seniors in Corla Jarema and Goda Yanko Skater. Those two will anchor an attack that lost Charlotte Armstead and Beatrice Ferreira that has put the onus on some talented returnees to take their next step in their development.
Losing Charlotte and Bia they were a big part of our team. I think over the summer you can tell that a lot of our returning players did a lot of work.
One of those returnees ready to step into Armstead's shoes is Jessica Johnson. The sophomore finished second on the team last year in kills. Coaches are high on her and sophomore Angie Darkus that the two can replace the production of both Armstead and Ferreira. NSU is also counting on juniors Jasmine Flowers and Kylie Thim to dominate on the inside. They, along with Yanko Skater and freshman middle blocker Dominique Parker, will help solidify NSU's at the net defense. It's an area that the team knows it needs to be strong at if it will contend for a title.
I feel like blocking is something that we're still continually working on, and I think with new coaches helping with blocking a lot, we go and do blocking separately sometimes, and I think that really helps us get better as a blocking team as a whole, not just like individuals getting bigger.
Sophomore Janae Frazier and freshman Sydney Daly have shown they can hit on the outside, and two more freshmen, De'Aaron Armstrong and Monique Gatling, provide plenty of backup in the middle as well. Coaches are also high on freshman hitter Tori Toulantrue, who has shown a lively arm during preseason camp. With several freshmen being looked on to provide an immediate impact, Duvall has been pleased with the progress adjusting to the collegiate game.
Getting them in the gym all together and learning about each other was big, and we were hoping they could do that as fast as possible, and they really did that after day one. They got together. You can see how they support each other. They clearly respect each other and love each other, so you can see that progress onto the court. So right now, I get the feeling like this team's been together for a long time.
One of those players who has taken on a leadership role is junior libero Noelle Eagles. NSU's all-time leader in digs, she and setter Darcy Moore are locked into their starting positions. Junior Adriana Ramos is back at her defensive specialist position, with freshman Alex Irizarry backing up both Moore and Ramos. Getting impact freshmen like Irizarry to mesh well with newcomers looking to expand their roles was something the coaching staff had to do quickly once preseason camp started.
There's less that I have to say because the upper class are teaching them on the way things are here. How quick the game needs to be played, how physical it needs to be, how intense it needs to be, and really the level of focus that we need to be able to be successful.
NSU will have had nearly 3 weeks of practice before hitting the court against Sam Houston State to start the season. Having unfinished business from a year ago, those players are ready to get onto the court and measure themselves against an actual opponent instead of each other.
We are really excited for our first game coming up at Appalachian State. Since I've been here, I think this is one of the best years that we have a chance of winning the MEAC, so we're just excited to get on the floor and see what we need to work on once we come against another opponent.
The Spartans begin their journey on a quest for a MEAC championship this weekend at the Appalachian Invitational. You can catch the Spartans in action at home for their first time on September 12th, 13th, and 14th in the Spartan Classic at Joe Echols Hall.
Speaking of the home of NSU volleyball and basketball, one of the many challenges athletics programs face each year is continuing to upgrade their facilities. Spartan Sports Zone correspondent Chandrea Lee has more on the facelift that Echols Hall received this summer.
Joseph Echols Hall has served as the home of the Norfolk State basketball programs since it opened its doors in 1982. With the arena celebrating its 30th birthday last year, the administration has been busy the last several years giving Echols Hall a facelift to keep it looking modern. What began 5 years ago continued this summer when NSU completely replaced the upper level bleachers and installed new chairback seating in Norfolk State green and gold colors. In 2008 and 2009, the department replaced the chairs in the reserve sections and replaced the bleachers in the lower level areas closest to the floor. After making improvements to other facilities during the last few years, Athletics Director Marty Miller believes the timing was right to focus attention back on the home of NSU basketball.
We have already completed projects on some of the other facilities, but now we know that we had the time, we had to raise the money to do this, and it was just necessary to go ahead and complete this project.
The $750,000 project was completed by certified installation in Maine. All of the seats in the north and south ends, the areas that are behind the baskets, are in the official NSU green, while the seats in the upper levels on the east end west sides are gold with the word Spartans spelled out in green. Removing the original bleachers has improved the overall look of the arena, and this project was one Mr. Miller worked on with several goals in mind.
What we are trying to do is to make it better for our fans. We're trying to make sure it's a great venue when recruits come to see us and to visit. So we want to make sure that when this season starts that we are ready to show our fans this new and improved venue.
Along with the new chairback seating, work also recently began in mid-August on fixing some of the older seats in the lower levels, as well as on the floor itself, which will be resanded and repainted to match the official NSU colors. Last year, the department changed all of the lights in the arena to brighter fluorescent bulbs, and this summer, all of the outside doors were replaced as well. With so much changing recently, Mr. Miller believes that people will be pleasantly surprised by the new look of Echols Hall.
I think it's going to be a very attractive venue when our fans come back to see it, especially our students. And I think it's going to really enhance what we're doing here at Norfolk State in athletics.
With the fall sports season about to kick into full gear, work is wrapping up for the summer. But that doesn't mean that's the end of the Echols Hall enhancements. More construction is set to begin next summer for the 31-year-old arena.
Well, on schedule for next year, we are going to remove the floor. We're going to put in place a new floor. We're also going to actually install an elevator here because we feel that some of our fans may not be able to get up to the upper level.
Along with the replacement of the floor and the new elevator, Norfolk State also has a few more projects waiting in the wings for the arena. Those plans are currently in the final approval process. Keep checking back at NSUSpartans.com for more information on some of those big changes in store for Echols as they become finalized. Until next time, I'm Chandrea Lee with NSUSpartans.com, fueled by Gatorade.
The men's and women's basketball seasons tip off the weekend of November 9th. The Spartans host their first contest in a newly renovated Echols Hall the following week. Season tickets for the 2013-14 basketball season will go on sale shortly. Visit NSUSpartans.com later on for more information on how to purchase single season and season tickets and for the full schedules as they become released in the next couple of weeks. Well, Ross, that'll do it for our first show. I hope the fans enjoyed it as much as we enjoy it.
It was a great time here in the zone, and I'm glad we had a chance to do it.
Yeah, catch us next week, and that will do it for this week's edition, actually, of the Spartan Sports Zone. As always, we'd like to thank the Creative Services Department and Chantal Copes for all their help. I'm Mike Bello.
And I'm Ross Gordon. We'll see you next week, and thank you for tuning in to the Spartan Sports Zone here on NSUSpartans.com.